Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and this is my pile of possibilities for the Library Love Readathon. I was so excited when I saw the announcement videos come up for this readathon because I love my library and I use it all the time. It is not rare for me to have like 50 books out from the library. Of course I don't read them all, but that doesn't matter. I just love hunting through the catalog for books. I love having a large selection to choose from. And there are so many services that the library provides other than just books. Of course you can get DVDs out from the library and music, CDs. You can also do online, you could do ebooks, e-audiobooks, and even movies with Hoopla. But there are also so many other things that our library provides that are just so fun. In the children's library, you can take out toys, which I think is fantastic. There's also a musical instrument lending library, which is amazing. And then a few other like really great services that the library provides for the community. There's a digitization station, so you can digitize old home movies, you know, onto MP4 or whatever format you want. There's also like a recording studio or like a media production studio that you can, you know, rent out or whatever with your library card. It's amazing. You can have access to a 3D printer. You've got like virtual reality stuff. Like, it's honestly really amazing and such a great resource. And I don't know that people know all of that's available, but it's such a great resource for the community. And then hilariously, I think in an effort to highlight all of those things, the library, they made a music video. They called it Regina Public Library, RPL, the musical, and it's hilarious. It's only a minute and a half long, and it's very cheesy, but I think partially on purpose. And so I love that the library doesn't take itself too seriously either, that it's willing to do kind of whatever to get the word out about the services that they provide to the community. So I'm going to put a link to it here in the cards and below in the description if you wanted to watch RPL the musical, which is very funny. Okay, so there are a lot of hosts to this readathon. And what I love about it is they're calling it a choose your own adventure. So you can dip in and out. You can choose one host and read the books for their prompts, or you can dip in and out and do the prompts as you want. So I'm going to include the list below of all the hosts and their announcement videos so that you can watch each of those. Each of them basically chose a different section of the library and then came up with 3 prompts that sort of fit that section, and so you can just pick and choose, and that's what I've done. So Catherine did pairings, and so she's at the cafe, and our library here in the city doesn't have a cafe, but when we lived in Winnipeg, when they built the new main branch downtown, it had a cafe, which I think is really fun. So her pairings, her 3 prompts were warm drink, something sweet, and try something new. And I have one book out from the library that I feel like could fit all 3 of those prompts, and that's Date with Death by Julia Chapman. This is a mystery set in the Dales in Yorkshire. Samson O'Brien has been dismissed from the police force, quite unfairly, according to him. Now, back in his hometown of Radcliffe in the Yorkshire Dales, Samson sets up the Dales Detective Agency while he fights to clear his name. However, the people of Radcliffe aren't entirely welcoming to a man they see as trouble. Delilah Metcalf, oh yeah, isn't that awesome? Samson and Delilah. Okay. She's struggling to keep her business, the Dales Dating Agency, afloat. When Samson gets his first case investigating the supposed suicide of a local man, things take an unexpected turn, and soon he discovers a trail of deaths that lead back to the door of Delilah's agency. So here we go. Warm drink. This is set in the Yorkshire Dales, and I honestly, I think of sweaters and cooler weather and lots of tea. So I think that would totally fit the prompt. For something sweet, of course, you've got the dating agency, so there's going to be that aspect, and then try something new. And so this is the first book in a series, and I've never read anything by this author before. So I'm excited that I found one book that fit all three of the prompts. Okay, so Kate's were, hers was a fairy tale. So a retelling, something with a beautiful cover, and then an epic quest, browse to find an intriguing book. Now, I didn't have anything for the retelling part, but for a book with a beautiful cover, I'm going with this, Death in Sunset Grove by Minna Lindgren. This is the first in her Lavender Ladies Detective Agency series. I think this cover's fantastic. I think it's beautiful. This is a book that has been translated from the Finnish by Lola Rogers, and it's about two women who live in a retirement community, and they start a detective agency, which I honestly think is fantastic. And then for Epic Quest, I'm not browsing in the library right now, but I browsed the online catalog, and I found this book intrigued me. This is The Honjin Murders by, sorry, let me get the name, Seishi Yokomizo, and it has been translated from the Japanese by Louise Heal Kawai. And it says that it is the award-winning classic murder mystery. This was originally published in 1973, and this English translation is from 2019. It apparently introduces Japan's most famous detective. In the winter of 1937, the village of Okamura is abuzz with excitement over the forthcoming wedding. There was a family name there that I wasn't going to pronounce right, so I left it out. But amid the gossip, there is also a worrying rumor. It seems a sinister masked man has been asking questions around the village. Then, on the night of the wedding, the household are awoken by a terrible scream, followed by the sound of eerie music. Death has come to Okamura, leaving no trace but a bloody samurai sword thrust into the pristine snow outside the house. Soon, amateur detective Kosuke Kindachi is on the scene to investigate what will become a legendary murder case, but can this scruffy sleuth solve a seemingly impossible crime? I am very intrigued by this one. Okay, and then Jessica, who is the Instagrammer in this list of hosts, her prompt is Bloody Valentine. So for her three prompts, the first one is Fatal Vow. Choose a true crime that has a relationship ending in murder. And so for that, I picked up The Scholl Case by Anja Reich-Osang, The Deadly End of a Marriage. This has been translated from the German by Imogen Taylor. A woman is brutally murdered and buried in the woods. Suspicion falls on her husband, the former mayor of a small town south of Berlin. They had been married almost 50 years and were considered the perfect couple. So that sounds like an intriguing true crime, and it's definitely about a relationship that ended in murder. Okay, and then Partners in Crime. Find a book with two people on the cover. And for that, I'm going back to Date with Death, because as you can see on the bridge here in front of the skull, there are two people. So that works. And then for Taste of Romance, a book with poison in it, I'm going with Say It With Poison by Anne Granger. This is the first in her Mitchell and Mark B. Village mystery series. It's about a case of an amateur, Meredith Mitchell, and a chief inspector named Mark B. And obviously someone dies with poison. Okay, and then Naomi, her prompts was to not read a novel, focusing on the fact that the library has a lot of other services. And so she has a graphic novel, audiobook, and a movie/TV show. I don't tend to read graphic novels, but I discovered that there are Agatha Christie graphic novels, which is kind of fun. So I got The Man in the Brown Suit. Unfortunately, it hasn't arrived yet. It's still being shipped. So I will show that one to you in one of my reading roundups. For the audiobook option, I am reading The Mysteries of Udolpho. I've been reading it for quite a while, I'll be honest. I have put it down for a few months. But February is also Feb Regency, which is another readathon about reading Regency books. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to pick up The Mysteries of Udolpho again. And I don't mind reading it in print, which is how I do the majority of my reading. It can sometimes be a bit of a slog because it's quite a long book, and I have found that I do actually really enjoy listening to it. And so the library has an audio option for The Mysteries of Udolpho, so I will listen to at least a bit of that book on audio through the library. And then for movie/TV, I will periodically get DVDs out from the library, and then you can also stream shows through Hoopla, so I'm sure I will do that as well during this readathon. Okay, and then Rainey, her prompt was finer things. And so she says to read a book with a food or beverage theme. And I've been hearing about this cozy mystery series for a while, so I thought I would give it a try. This is Death on Tap by Ellie Alexander. It is the first in her Sloane Krause series, and it's about someone who owns a pub, basically, in a Bavarian-themed town in Washington. There is a family brew house, and she is, basically they do micro-brewing and stuff, so that sounded fun. I thought I would give that a try. And then she also said to read a book with a hobby that you enjoy. Other than reading, I do enjoy doing jigsaw puzzles, but I couldn't really find a book or a mystery that was kind of about that. But one thing, it's not a hobby so much as something that I like to read about in books, and that's archaeology. I'm really intrigued by archaeology. And so I guess you could call that a hobby. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to read Haunted Ground by Erin Hart. This is a debut, and it combines forensics, history, archaeology, and suspense, which sounds perfect for me. It's set in Ireland, which is awesome. When farmers cutting turf in a peat bog make a grisly discovery, the perfectly preserved severed head of a young woman with long red hair, Irish archaeologist Cormac Maguire and American pathologist Nora Gavin team up in a case that will open old wounds. So that sounds really good. And then the last one for Rainey is to read a play or watch an adaptation, or to read a biography about a famous person. And I don't really have anything for that. I sometimes will read plays, so we'll see. But right now I don't have anything for that one. All right, and then from the channel Beautiful Minutia, hers is the travel area. And so read a book about a travel or a journey. And so this one worked out great because I'm reading this for a book club that I'm in with Kate Howe and a few other awesome people. And so this is Murphy's Law by Rhys Bowen, which is the first in her Molly Murphy series. And in this book, Molly Murphy travels from Ireland to New York. And so it totally counts for travel and for a journey because she goes on a pretty big journey. So this is the first in her historical mystery series, and it's set in the very late 1800s, I want to say. I'm not sure if it says specifically, but this is a series that I've read before and I'm excited to get into again. And then she says to read a book with sun in the title or on the cover. And so I am going back to Death in Sunset Grove because it has both. There is the sun, and sun is in the title. So that works out perfectly. And then third, a book that takes place in a different country. And so for that, I am also going to go back to the Honjin murders because this takes place in Japan. Okay, and then we have Stephanie, who is doing cozy companions. So read a non-traditional cozy, about a non-traditional cozy companion. Read it with a dog or a cat on the cover, and then read a cozy mystery with an animal companion. Now, I don't tend to read a lot of these kind of books, but this book that I am already reading has a cat on the cover, so I can totally count for that prompt. Petra her prompts are to read a tome, read a book with a map, and continue a series that you have started. So for read a tome, I decided I'm not doing that one because I already have two on the go. I'm reading Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope, which is like 800 or 900 pages. And then The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, which is almost 1,000 pages. So that's enough for 1 month. For a book with a map, I have Murder in the Marais, I don't know how to say that, by Cara Black. This is set in Paris in the 90s, and she's a private detective, and it has a great map in the front here. And then for continue a series you have started, I have Move Your Bloomin' Corpse by D.E. Ireland. This is the second in the Eliza Doolittle and Henry Higgins series, set in 1915, 1916, something like that. 1913. And they are at the races. They are off to the races at Royal Ascot. Okay, and then Fully Booked is doing the language section of the library. So she's got read a book written in a dialect, read a book written in translation, and read a book about language. And so for that one, I'm going to count, well, I've got two actually that would count, well, three actually. The Honjin Murders has been translated from Japanese. Death in Sunset Grove has been translated from the Finnish, and the Scholl case has been translated from German. So I've got a wealth of possibilities there. And then finally, Voyage of a Time Wanderer. She's in the historical fiction section. So a book with a bookish word in the title. The best that I could come up with here is A Study in Murder by Callie Hutton. This is the first in her Victorian Book Club mystery series. And so I thought study is kind of a bookish word, but then definitely in the subtitle or whatever you want to call it, the Victorian Book Club mystery is definitely a bookish word. So this is set in the Victorian era and in Bath, which is awesome. And a mystery author is charged with a murder. Okay, and then read a historical fiction from the New Arrivals shelf. This is also a book that has not arrived yet. It's on its way. And it's called Murder at Madame Tussauds by Jim Eldridge. I think if I've got that wrong, I'm going to put the picture of it on the screen so that you can see. This is part of his Museum Detectives series. So there's a pair of detectives who investigate murders and mysteries at museums. It's a really fun series. It's historical mystery and set in the late Victorian time period. And each one has been set at a different museum in England, which I think is really, really fun. And so this one is at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. And then finally, to read a book with a cover that has a woman in period costume facing away. And so this is a little bit of a joke because there are so many, there are just so many historical fiction books that have that set up. And the best that I could do, and I don't think this is exactly what they meant, but two women here are in period costume facing away. And so I'm counting Move Your Blooming Corpse for that. So there you have it. This is my pile of possibilities for the Library Love Readathon. It is set for February 6th to February 19th, and I'm really excited to be a part of it because, like I said at the beginning, I love my library and I make great use of my library. It's a service in our community that I am very, very thankful for. So let me know in the comment section down below, are you going to participate in this readathon? Do you love your library? Let's chat libraries in the comment section down below, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye.